Good evening and welcome to another edition of the HGP Sport for today, Tuesday, April 9, 2019. I am Stanford Howard. Thanks for joining us. We begin by telling you in boxing this evening, Kevin Alcock on Monday was denied a chance of fighting for a place in the semi-finals of the Pan America qualifiers in Nicaragua. Find out more in this report. Kevin Alcock lost by a walkover to Alex de Cruz of Dominican Republic after the fight supervisor deemed his vest color inappropriate for competition. Alcock, who was scheduled to box out of the red corner, was attired in red and black vest. 1 hour before his fight, he was inspected and given clearance by the International Technical Officer. Alcock was also allowed into the ring by referee who saw nothing wrong with his attire. However, the supervisor intervened just before the start of the fight, registering his concerns. Alcock was given 1 minute to leave the ring, go to the changing room, and return properly attired. Upon his return, he was deemed that he lost by a walkover. A protest was immediately filed, but the supervisor remained steadfast and unflinching. The new rules of the IABA 48.34 state that a boxer can compete in his national colors. Red and black are our colors of our national flag. The Guyana Boxing Association finds the ruling of the supervisor as unjust, unreasonable, unsportsmanlike, excessive, unwarranted, and that which goes against the grain of what the new ABIA is promoting. Stephen Ninval, president of the Guyana Boxing Association and chairman of the Caribbean Steering Committee, stated that he had since dispatched a letter of protest to both the America's Boxing Confederation and AIBA for this ruling to be overturned, and he expects a favorable response. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. In football news, just weeks after Guyana's qualification for the 2019 Gold Cup, a memorandum of understanding with Denmark will be signed in June. This new development becomes the latest byproduct of the Nations League win. Jaden Samuels has more.
This signing was scheduled for last week and was pushed back to June, and will see partnerships between the land of many waters teaming up with Denmark, the well-developed football nation. This relationship is expected to up the standard of local football in the areas of infrastructure, upgrading of coaches, and further development of the grassroots level. This is the direction in which local football should be heading, says President of the Guyana Football Federation, Wayne Ford.
This partnership centers around every area of football development. And as we speak, Howard and I are finalizing our discussions on some of the immediate projects that we'll be partnering with UEFA. One category of project will be infrastructure. We visited one of the locations that we want to do a massive grassroots development pitch at. And we are also discussing some of the specific areas of coaching education that we want to put as the first items on the partnership agenda.
The signing will be done between the head of local football and Jesper Møller, Denmark football head, at the FIFA Congress. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
More football news. As the GFF Elite League continues, the teams are doing their best to prove who is the most elite of them all, and the game held at the Guyana Police Force Ground cannot be forgotten. Samuel Gillis has more in this report.
On Sunday, it was Santos Football Club who faced off with Buxton United Football Club as they kicked with purpose. It was match 13 and fans had turned out in their numbers to witness the showdown between these two clubs. In the first half of the game, referee C. Abel blew the whistle with a scoreboard at 0 for both teams. Both teams reconvened fighting. Buxton was the favorite, but Santos played the better game and scored the first and only goal of the game in the 72nd minute. Though fans were obviously disappointed, they stayed on to witness match 14, when the Guyana Police Force came out with baton-like skills to shoot the ball through the goalkeeper of the Millrock FC, but was denied by their rival for 80 minutes into the game. Millrock, Keon Sears, was high in confidence from the goal he scored in the 29th minute. But it was in the 81st minute that the Guyana police force cranked up and gave their large fan base something to cheer about. It was Cordell Johnson who leveled the score, and the game ended on a 1-all, much to the satisfaction of the GPF FC and their supporters. More games ahead in this league. For HGP Sport, I am Samuel Gillis.
Thank you, Samuel. In badminton, Nairani Ramdani and Priyani Ramdani have both qualified for the Pan American Games 2019 to be held in Lima, Peru in July. Find out more in this report. This is the second Pan Am Games they will be attending since they had qualified and also represented Guyana in 2015 in Toronto, Canada. Both players have been working very hard to keep their game level at a high standard, and they both took time off from their studies for 2 weeks as they were selected by Pan Am Sports to attend the Road to Lima 2019 high-level training camp in Aguascalientes, Mexico from April 8th to 23rd, 2019, in preparation for the Pan Am Games. After the camp, they are expected to write their final exam, but as athletes, they have to balance their studies and training, which they have mastered over the years. Ramdani is 17 years of age and holds the #1 ranking in both junior and senior categories in Guyana. She also ranked number 104 in the Badminton World Federation junior ranking. Nairani Ramdani, 20 years old, holds the #1 spot in Guyana and #1 in the ACAC rankings and ranks number 3 in CCAA ranking in Canada. 24 medals are shared between the two players. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. And finally, GPL blacks out all opposition to win Interdepartment and Interclub Dominoes title as activities continue to introduce bar-ticker Easter Regatta Sports 2019. The details in this Jaden Samuels report.
Led by the most valuable player of the finals, Clive Griffith, with a maximum of 18 games, GPL amassed a total of 84 games to take the top spot ahead of Administration, which managed 76. And Transport and Harbours Department stuck in the cellar position as a result of low tide on 68 games. For their effort, GPL were powered up with $50,000 cash as the champions, along with a trophy, and $30,000 going to Administration and $20,000 to Transport and Harbours Department. Most valuable player Griffith was rewarded with a trophy. In the Interclub Showdown, which attracted 7 clubs, Mix-Up was too hot for their rivals to handle, chalking up a whopping 92 games to win the first place prize of $100,000 and a trophy. Lotto played their cards right to end in second place on 78 and collected $40,000 and the trophy. In the third place, Not Too Pleased was Upsetters. They received $20,000 for their effort. The most valuable player of the finals was Ishan Alam. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
Thank you, Jaden. That concludes our cast for this evening. I am Stanford Howard, but do remember, persistence can change failure into extraordinary achievement.